Heyo, it's Mayo. This is the fourth video in my DNRS series, and if you'd like to check out the earlier videos in the series, they are all linked below in the description box. Today's video, I'm going to be sharing my least favorite parts of the DNRS program. One of the things is something that right away I didn't like, and then I kind of was proven wrong. And then the other stuff is just things that I didn't love about the program. And to be a well-rounded, full review of all of this, I thought I would share the things that I liked and the things that I didn't like. So, I am in no way sponsored to make this video. I am just sharing my actual experiences and opinions of this program. I'm just here to share. So right away when I started the DNRS program, there was something that I didn't like and didn't think would work for me. And that was when it asked us to no longer think or speak at all about your health problems. So for me, that was chronic illness. And that was, I felt like, too much to ask because I make videos and blogs sharing about my health. Like, obviously this is something that I do, so it's something that I do speak about. And I felt like I've always had really healthy boundaries with my illnesses because I never really let it completely rule my life. I never let it completely define who I am. I really only have ever talked about my health stuff either to doctors or when I choose to, when it serves me good. I never have like overly fixated on it. I don't spend a ton of time reading about other experiences like my own. I've just never let it consume my entire life, and I've always kept my personal identity, like who I am, separate from my illness. Even though, you know, that may be surprising to some people watching this because obviously, like, I've made a lot of videos and I blog and stuff sharing about everything, but this is only something I do when I do this content, and other than that, I pretty much just go about my life. Given that I've always had pretty good boundaries with my illness stuff, I really didn't think that this was necessary for me, and I didn't really think it would fit for me, just, you know, with everything. But I wanted to give DNRS a good, honest shot and do as much as I could, so I felt the only compromise that I could really make was to just limit how much I talked or thought about my illnesses, and you know, remission and all of that. I thought I can't completely stop because this is like what I do, but I can definitely limit it as much as I can just to see, you know, what would happen, just to follow the program as closely as I can. And I really didn't see much of a difference for quite a while, actually. I don't think even at the 6-month mark I had noticed much of a difference of when I would talk about my illness in this kind of a format, you know, blogging or vlogging or something, versus me no longer like making videos. And this is why I've been a lot more distant from social media in this last year or year and a half, and why I haven't been making as many videos about my health, because I've been following the DNRS program. But I really didn't see very much of a difference between when I was talking about it and when I wasn't talking about it. But I still, I kept with it just for a longer amount of time just to see if there would be a difference. And I was really surprised that eventually I did notice a big difference. I actually went a fairly long period of time somewhere last year where I didn't talk about my illness at all, really, to anyone. I didn't talk about it. And I thus wasn't thinking about it either. I was focusing very intentionally a lot of my time, energy, thoughts, everything towards healing, things that were uplifting, towards these new intentions that I built with DNRS. I really shifted my focus in a different direction completely. And it wasn't that I really noticed a difference until I did think or speak about my past with being chronically ill, and it would hurt. It would like hurt on every level of my being. It would hurt like my body, it would hurt my mind and emotions, it would like hurt on a soul level. Like, it really hurt, and I didn't expect that, and I was surprised by that. I announced sometime last year that I was going to start writing a book about my life and my health journey, and I did. But I got to the point where in my story I got sick, and I was going through old journals and I was writing it all out into what would be a book, and it hurt and it made me actually physically sick. I noticed I would write one day about it and I would just be exhausted and feel terrible the rest of that day, and I would feel crappy for like a couple days later too. I mean, it really affected me. And that was kind of the turning point for me when I realized what the program meant about why it's important to limit or no longer think about your past so much. Because I really did see the difference between if I'm just looking backwards at my past versus if I'm focusing as much of my energy and attention as possible forward and in the direction that I want to be going. You can make a lot more forward progress if you're focused on the forward rather than if every couple steps you're still looking back over your shoulder and you're still thinking about all of those things. You could be using that energy towards looking forward, and anytime you catch yourself starting to look back, you just say, "Oh, we gotta look back forward. Gotta look back forward." Going through all of that, it was validating, and I guess it was proof to me that I needed to still focus a lot more of my energy in moving forward rather than continuing to look back, and that I needed to put a lot more time and space between my past and my future, if that makes sense. I need more time for my past to be my past and for the pain of my past to no longer hurt or affect my present or my future. I just need more space between the two. And so I have continued with thinking or talking about my chronic illness past as little as possible. And I'm a year and a half out from doing DNRS, and I really do notice a difference. And it's cool because there's sometimes that I'm so used to these new patterns of mine that I don't even realize how much better I'm doing until sometimes I'll catch myself in a moment like, in the past I wouldn't have been able to do this, or this would have been really triggering for me. It's really interesting, and it's really cool how my new normal is becoming ingrained kind of into my subconscious habits, that I'm so used to it that I don't even like always realize it. It's like an afterthought to see the progress, which is pretty cool. Anyway, that in particular is something that I really wanted to share because I'm a person who obviously, uses my platform to spread awareness and talk about chronic illness and mental health and all of these things that I went through. So the DNRS program asking me to not think or talk about those things was a tall order and challenging, and I just wanted to share that it was worth it to make the commitment and that I'm continuing to do that as much as I can. I guess my point here is to use this as an example for something that I really didn't think would work for me or relate to me, and it was worth the commitment. So I guess I would just encourage to try the program as much as you possibly can, even if you don't think something will really work for you, and be open to being proven wrong. So this last part of the video is some parts of the program that I didn't like. Number one is the repetition of the program. Although I do see the purpose behind it, I understand the need for repetition and how that helps learning. I found it annoying. It was a little too repetitious for my taste, but I guess that's a minor thing. Another thing that I personally just didn't enjoy and couldn't do was listening to all of the health stories that it shared. I've never loved listening to health stories. Since the point that I got sick, I just haven't found any joy from listening to other people's health stories, and so I've always kept a lot of distance when hearing about health stuff. It's just triggering for me, and it doesn't give me anything. I think it's interesting too that I've always known that listening to health stuff doesn't give me anything and that it's triggering and tiring for me, but somehow I didn't think that me thinking or talking about my own experiences did the same. So when I went through the experience of like, yeah, me thinking and talking about it, I guess does have an effect on me. It was funny to realize that those are like kind of the same. So since I didn't love all of the health stories, I did listen to a few, which were cool. I'll give them that. They were cool stories. It's nice to hear success stories every once in a while, but I couldn't listen to all of them because it was just too much. So I had to skip through a lot of those. That's just me and, my personal taste, I guess. Another thing is, I will say that I think the DNRS program could be pretty triggering for people who maybe in their health experiences were treated like they're crazy. Personally, I'm someone who was misdiagnosed for a long time, and I was treated by a lot of doctors and professionals like I was crazy, or that I was making it up, or that it was all in my head. I was told like, you just need sleep hygiene and to go to therapy and you'll be fine. But I had a raging infection that needed to be treated. So to go into the program and have it say you're not allowed to think or talk about your illness, that and other things in the program, I could see how the program could be triggering and trigger those wounds in people. So I would not have been able to do this program any earlier than I did, because I was still going through treatment and I was still facing a lot of that PTSD about like, people don't believe my illness and they don't believe that I actually need treatment for these things. So I needed time to get through treatment, and then I did this program kind of to wrap up the tail end of my healing. And that's what worked for me, and maybe that will work for other people too, that someone could use this towards the end of their healing, where a lot of it is just leftover PTSD, anxiety, and needing to rewire their brain as they learn to live in a new normal again. Maybe not though. Maybe this would be a really helpful program for someone who's newly sick and wants to go into their whole health journey with their best foot forward and being conscious of all of these things. Maybe that's you, and maybe someone would be able to do this in the middle of their health stuff. I just think that the program could have done a bit better of a job of expressing that this is in no way trying to invalidate your health experience or tell you that your physical stuff doesn't mean anything. They could have done a better job of expressing that DNRS should be used as a tool to help whatever you're already doing to heal whatever health thing you're going through, whether that's physical or mental or whatever level. That this should be a helpful tool that you use with whatever you're already doing that works well for you. You know what I mean? It's in no way meant to invalidate your illness, your diagnosis, your treatment, etc. And I just think it could have done a little bit better of a job of expressing that. Because there was some things that in the program I already know that my diagnosis and everything that I've been through is valid, so it just kind of brushes right off of me. But maybe someone who isn't quite there yet in their journey would just be triggered, and you don't want to go through this program and end up being more triggered and upset. This is supposed to be helpful and healing for you. So I don't know. If someone does this program and if it's like too triggering and they're not ready for it, then put it off to the side and do it later, I guess. Because maybe it'll still be a helpful experience later on. I really looked at this program as encouraging to take responsibility for and heal your mindset. There's so much power in mindset. There's so much power there, and there's so many possibilities and so much you can do and shift with your mindset. Really the only thing we can actually control in life is our own self and our own mindset. So I thought this was cool, how much attention this brings towards healing the mind, because I'm really for a mind, body, soul approach to healing, and so this was cool that it was such a focus on mind healing. But like I said, I think it could have done a better job of expressing that this is the mind healing and should also be paired with body and soul healing. I will say too, healing your mind may not fully heal you, and that's okay. And I think that it could have expressed that maybe a little bit better too. That's just my thoughts. Sorry about my cat. That's just my thoughts on the program and some of the things that I thought and didn't like. I just thought I would share. Like I said, if you guys want to check out the rest of this series, it's linked below. They are in vlog form and they are also in blog form if you would rather read it. So you can check all those links out below. Make sure to give this video a like if you like it and subscribe if you want to come back for more. Thanks for watching though. I will be back soon with other stuff. And I'm sorry about my animals being noisy.
Classic Mayo.